Great episode today. Leadership expert Yigal Adato reveals his 3 questions that help determine your work-life balance, and he and Thor talk about improving your ability to make and keep commitments. Keep it locked right here to the Peak Performers Podcast.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast
with your host, Thor Conklin.
Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
So let's talk about the commitment for a little bit, because I think this is really important. And I talk a lot about commitments and accountability. Someone's struggling with commitments. What do you tell the executive? What do they do? How do they get their commitments back on track?
I think it's starting off with small commitments, right? Small little things that you can do to have wins, right? I'm reading the book called The One Thing right now, and I think it's by Gary Keller.
Yeah.
And he talks about just do one thing at a time, one little thing at a time, and do it for, I think he says 66 days is what the science has behind it. Just do one thing at a time. So if your commitment has to start with coming to work at a certain time, commit to that. If it's going to the gym twice a week at 7 a.m., commit to that. If it's having a date night once a week with your wife, commit to that. And once we start having some wins, then we'll make some bigger commitments, right? And because you start breaking the bad habits, and bringing in the good ones. And slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's like going to the gym. You're building on it. You're stacking it. Something that we talk about here all the time is micro commitments, and that's defined as a commitment for a day. Wake up, check your calendar, put in your commitments, and don't go to bed until you get those commitments on the calendar that are above the line that says everything above this line I'm going to do. And what ends up happening, when you first try this, you, of course, put too much in there. And then day 2, you learn a little bit. By day 3 or 4, it's like, okay, I'm going to commit to these, and then I'm going to put a bunch of things underneath the line that I want to do. But we can all keep our commitments for a short period of time. We could all hold our breath for 5 seconds. We can't for 5 hours.
Yeah. And for me, is if you have the balls to open a business, then we need to work on how you can have the same balls to commit to something.
Yeah.
Because it takes a lot of courage to open a business, right? And in order to commit, it takes courage as well. You're uncomfortable. I started going to the gym. I wake up at 5 a.m. I go to the gym at 6 a.m. and it's uncomfortable. It's hard. My stomach's kind of a mess. I got to eat something. As long as it's within 45 minutes, I get there. I'm tired. It doesn't matter if my daughter woke up. It doesn't matter if I went to sleep late. I get to the gym, but I'm committed because there's a bigger reason I'm committed. And I'm committed because I want to be healthy for my family. That's my commitment. So also putting a reason behind what you're doing helps with a commitment.
Yeah, and establish those commitments before your body or mind doesn't want to do them. It's like you do not want to decide what to do when you're hungry and when you're tired and you have no energy. You want to do it first thing in the morning and say, this is what I'm going to do. Knock it out.
And Thor, it doesn't say this on my bio, but my father has Parkinson's and dementia. Super successful businessman, 12 stores, hundreds of employees. Thousands have gone through there. But what he did was he did today and to enjoy tomorrow. What I mean by that is he said, I'm going to do what I'm doing today. I'm going to work. I'm going to grind so that I can enjoy later on, right? So he committed. He was committed to work 14 hours a day, 6 days a week. There's also bad commitments. There's also commitments that affect your health. Smoking. There's a huge those who chain smoke, that's commitment, my friend. That's intense commitment.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad habit somewhere, that's a commitment. You're committing to putting that cigarette in your mouth, hopefully not taking that drink, whatever those are. So if you can commit to those types of things, you can commit to the healthy habits, commit to being on time at work, commit to sitting with those employees. You just have to cut the crap and be honest with yourself and commit.
Amen. And one tactic here is when you want to destroy a bad habit, replace that habit with something else that empowers you. Your life is always looking to fill that void. So if you want to give up smoking, start taking up walking. So every time you want to have a cigarette, take a walk. Do something that's the antithesis of it, that's good for you. Don't just leave a void.
Yeah. And also, I believe that there's some things that can help when it comes to breaking bad habits monetarily. What does that mean? I have friends who say they want to lose weight. So I said, great, I'll bet you $500 that you're not going to lose the weight because you don't have the commitment. One guy did it, lost the 30 pounds. And it was worth me as a friend to give him the $500 or the $100, whatever that is, for him to commit to it. Now he's healthy, which is great. So it's got to hurt. It needs to hurt a little bit. You know what I mean?
Accountability plays such a key factor.
Yeah.
We actually set up an entire system on accountability, and there's penalties for not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Yeah. So if you don't show up on time, you don't do the commitments, there's penalties along the way.
Yeah, and be a big boy and take the penalties, right? Don't bitch and moan when you didn't hit what you said you were going to do.
Absolutely. We expect a 97% fallout rate from our program because most people say they want it, but they don't. They're interested in it. They're interested in their success. They're interested in getting healthy. They're interested in making profits. They're not committed because commitment takes courage. It takes time. It takes guts. It takes grit every single day. And most people aren't willing to do it. Period.
Yeah. And I'll put myself up there. It's happened to me in the past.
Of course. I'll put myself in.
I paid for a program like yours and I didn't even look at it.
Yeah.
And I spent the money and I spent the time. And what happened was I didn't share those commitments with my wife. I didn't say, hey, every day I need to spend 2 hours on watching these videos so that I can learn to be a better father or a better leader or whatever it is I want to learn, do better marketing. So I kind of hide in myself so that nobody else knows, so that if I fail, if I don't go through with my commitment, guess who knows? Nobody, just me. And so the person who, I know, Thor, when you take the time to do these programs, you want to see a success rate that's higher than 97% because you put your blood, sweat, and tears into this thing. You want to help people, but you're right. You said it perfectly. They're just interested. They're not committed.
By the way, I actually changed it. There's no way to cancel the program. So once you're in, you can't cancel.
Yeah, good.
But you can do one thing. You can quit. You can quit. Just like the SEAL program, right? If it's too tough, it's too hot, you don't like it, you're too cold, ring the bell. Yeah. So you can get out of my program anytime you want to. You don't have to pay anymore. But I don't call it canceling. I call it quitting. Quitting on you, quitting on your dreams, quitting on your goals.
Yep.
I don't want you to quit. I'll be there. I'll grab you. I'll drag you. But I know I can't drag and carry everybody because some just won't do it.
Yeah, and it happens with people up top. I've worked with entrepreneurs who are making a lot of money. Their life is not where they want it to be, and they quit. And I say, you're quitting, leaving all this on the line. If it's not me, go work with somebody else. If you and I didn't work well together, that's fine. I understand that. That's going to happen. But don't stop working on yourself. Go get the help. Go get another coach, a mentor, a group. Do what you need to do. Because if you let, divorce happen, if you let yourself get fat, it's going to cost you way more in the end.
Absolutely. I want to end on something here, and I'll touch on the profitability statement about the website again. My belief is once you are able to create an organization, a business that's producing enough profits that enables you to bring in a management team to professionally run your organization on the day-to-day basis, which will then provide you the opportunity to make decisions that you didn't have when you were running the business 24/7, 18 hours a day. So I'm all about creating the profits to give you the opportunities.
Accountability. Let's talk about it. Why are New Year's resolutions so seldomly seen through? Well, a lot of times life just sort of gets in the way. Priorities shift and we lose sight of what's most important. We need help. If you get sick, you go to a doctor. If you have car troubles, you go see a mechanic. If you got busted pipes, my friend, you need a plumber. That's why for things that are really important that you just can't do alone, you have to call an expert. And Thor Conklin is an accountability expert. It's impossible to have accountability for achieving your larger-than-life goals all alone. It just can't work. So what do? Well, just like with a cough, a carburetor, or a clog, you get a hold of an expert in the field. www.thorconklin.com/accountability.
So tell me your ideas on the work-life balance.
So it's very hard to be in balance I forgot who said it. They called it a balancing act, and I like that. It just kind of was more in tune with me. For me, I was doing business to provide for my family, right? But if I wasn't there to be present for my family, I'm not providing anything.
Yeah.
If we go back to my father at the age of 58 diagnosed with Parkinson's and dementia. He's sick. He can't talk well, can't walk well. He's got 6 caregivers. I would give all the money back, Thor. And I'll say this again. I would give all the money back so that my father was healthy. Because you can't rewind the clock. My father can't get healthy. He has Parkinson's. There's no cure. It's not a cold. So he was working to enjoy at a later time in life. He didn't have balance. He didn't have the time to spend with his family. Now, my father gave us everything, right? We have a beautiful house and the cars and the vacations. So I didn't go without. But what I did go without was the presence of my father being there when I was growing up. And all I would wait for, Thor, was, 5 o'clock would hit and I would want my father not to drive up in a Mercedes, not to be wearing a Rolex when he drove up, but to walk through the doors at 5 so that we can play and so we can have dinner together. So my commitment to my daughter, when I had a baby, I sold the business, the pawn shop business, when my wife got pregnant, because that's when I was committed to not just being successful, but being happy. And when I was holding my daughter in my arms, I asked myself, what type of a man do I have to be so that you grow up happy, so that she grows up happy? What type of a husband do I have to be so that the relationship with my wife can be full of passion, so that this works? 50% divorce rate, it's tough. I want to make it work for my daughter and for my wife. And then I had to ask myself a third question, which was, who do I have to be to make a difference in this world so that my daughter grows up in a better world than I grew up in? And when I asked those 3 questions to myself, Thor, bawling, just nonstop crying, I knew that I had to do something in order to have some type of balance. Whatever that looks like for me works. Whatever that looks like for you, if it's 60-40, if it's 70-30, but don't make it go, don't give it a failing grade. Don't go 90-10. Don't go 80-20. Do it so that your family is happy. If they're not happy, if your wife is consistently complaining that you're not present, you don't have balance. If you're not making it to the games for your kids' baseball and football and you're missing every single thing, you don't have balance. If you're overweight, you do not have balance. Figure it out. Find a coach, find a consultant to help you so that they can help you be accountable to what you need to do. Not just for you. Leadership isn't just about you, Thor. It's about those you're responsible for. And this pisses me off, and I hope that you can feel the energy, because I hate seeing fathers especially who are sitting at the bar from 5 to 6 having the drink because they need to relax because they had a tough day. Kiss my ass.
Yeah.
Go home. Be with your family. They need you. If it's not working out with your wife, go get therapy. If it's not working out with your wife, I don't care. Take your kids to the park. But be there. Be present. They need you. They need the leadership in you to be able to grow up and be happy the way you want them to be happy.
I see it. I see it all the time. And that's exactly what I'm on a mission to do. I see so many entrepreneurs struggling, trying to figure out how to make $60,000, $80,000, $100,000 out of a business that's doing $3 million a year, working around the clock. And there's just not enough profits in the organization. So I'm attacking it from one end, you're attacking it from the other end, but we're at the same goal. This world, this life is not about going through and becoming the best entrepreneur, the best business person you could be. It's about becoming the best version of you with your family. And in order to do that, you've got to have some means. You've got to have the time and you've got to have the means to be able to do that. So we're both on the same crusade, and I really appreciate you spending time with us today and giving the audience such valuable insights. Tell the audience how they can get in touch with you and some of the stuff that you're doing.
Sure. So you can go to my website, yigaladato.com. You can find me all over social media with the same name, Yigal Adato, Yigal Adato. And I'm also coming out with a new show called Small Business Big Leaders. It'll be a web show on YouTube where I find and feature incredible leaders who have incredible culture in their businesses. And they're teaching their strategies on how they do it, how they have work-life balance. So check it out.
Oh, great job. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to having you back on the show.
Thanks, Thor. It's been a blast. I appreciate you.
Great job. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.